Hi everyone, I hope you're well. This is CoinsKid. Just going to XRP. Once again, thank you for your support. Okay, be the CoinsKid crew. So I'll dive into the charts in a moment, but we did have a nice little trade play out a few weeks ago. For anyone paying attention on the previous video, we had looks. It was a massive trade, huge trade. Equally, fart boy, 117% trade right there for anyone paying attention to the post on the Discord and Twitter, and I did show you in the video as well. And this is what we do. We don't just trade XRP on this channel, okay? And I've built these tools and systems to help you trade. And what we're seeing right now, if you take a look on the futures blocks, visual representation, the market is starting to get a little bit overheated and a little bit of greed kicking into the market, especially for XRP. If you take a look, it's right now, it's orange, which is greed. It's in a state of greed. A lot of people they're buying into this greed, and this is not where you buy. Like I said to you last month, we were looking at that buy zone at $1.64 for XRP. We bought in and so far roughly 40% up off that buy zone, but I am looking to take profit because this is what I do. If I do start to see 5 waves up into levels of resistance, God candle back test and things like that, then I do look for swing opportunities. I won't hold on, okay, and I most certainly won't be longing into resistance right there, which is what a lot of people do, and they make that mistake. So for me, the trade on XRP on a micro time frame is a short. So I'm going to show you my setup on the short today for XRP. I'm looking around about $2.40 if it gets there to open a short, okay, and obviously a minimal stop loss to minimize the risk right there. So at the minute there are equally a couple of other short opportunities. You can find these, for example, Tao. We've got IOTA, we've got Core, the orange ones. And if you do start to see anything that's an extreme state of greed where it's bright red, then they are maximum opportunities right there. So you can use trades, you can find trades using futures crypto blocks. A couple of weeks ago, before when I waited to buy, there was a massive trade on looks that played out. It was a huge trade right there, and equally Vox is down there. So let's dive into the charts right now. But one key chart we've got to keep an eye on is the S&P 500. Let's take a look at that right now, okay? So looking at the S&P 500 at the moment, everyone's getting incredibly bullish on this, but what we've done, we've triggered a technical bear market. So technically, until we start to see 5 waves up from the downside, or obviously a reversal pattern, we've got to be cautious here, okay? Because look, down here, if we take a look, this dropped, came back with a 3-wave move. Yeah, it's bullish. No, it's not. It continued to come down to the downside. And with that, if you remember from late 2021 into, I think it was sort of late 2022, Bitcoin, crypto, XRP was just coming down the stairs, wasn't it? It was like never ending. But once this started to break out way back in January, this is pretty much where XRP bottomed, and we got incredibly bullish on XRP because you get any confirmation of a breakout of structure, your correction's over basically. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Like I've taught you, if ever you see 5 waves to the downside, overlapping corrective nature, you've got to be buying basically. And you break out like this, you've got your 1 into your ABC2, and you're breaking out frequent stairs like this. So this did incredibly well for us, and this here in January, this simple little breakout at this level of resistance was the clue that XRP was going to break out to the upside, and it did exactly that. It's been a very bumpy road. It's been really boring at times, and it still is quite boring, to be honest with you, the price action. But these things take time to coil up. For example, right now, look at this. You come down the stairs and you come up slowly but surely, you break out, yay, and then you fall back to support. We've not really had any significant pullback here as of yet. So we've come up in a potential 1, 2, breaking out in a 3. We should see some kind of 4 and then a 5. If we start to see that, okay, we've got an increased probability that that is your bottom. But until that day comes, we've got to respect the data in this particular chart that we have triggered a technical bear market in the S&P 500, okay? And with that, that would continue to drag XRP down eventually until we start to see this breaking out the local highs and range highs. Then I don't think XRP is going to do exactly that. And I could be completely wrong, obviously, but at the moment, in this particular chart, until I see 5 waves to the upside, I think this could be a corrective move, just filling the gap. So we've got to be cautious of another drop in this particular chart, which obviously is a drop in the XRP chart as well. Okay, so with that, we've just got to be really cautious. And like I've taught you, if you are buying XRP or any of these crypto projects, you buy on the drawdowns. When it's in the floor, when the blood, fear and depression's right there, this is where you buy. This is why I relayed to you, to come down to that $1.64 target. That was an amazing buy zone. And currently, I think roughly 38%, 39% or something, doing really well on that buy zone, okay? But I will look to flip that buy zone. I'm not a moon boy. I will always look to, maximize my opportunity and profit. So what we want to see from this particular chart is a 1 into a 2 into a breakout 3, come back in a 4 and 5. If we start to see that, you'll have a 2 at resistance where you come back in ABC and the breakout in a 3. This will not break out at this point. It shouldn't do. This is what I'm trying to relay to you. So again, I wish I hadn't most luck, but we need to pay attention to the S&P 500 because we have triggered a technical bear market. So like I said to you, you come back up into resistance and then you'll have another drop and so on and so forth. So until we start to see a reversal pattern and a breakout in this particular chart, I think we've got to be cautious, just buying into these rallies on XRP going forward. So let's dive into the XRP chart right now, see what we can see, okay? Look at XRP on the daily time frame at the moment, if we start to see some kind of ascending triangle here or bottom pattern over a long period of time, then yeah, I'll begin to entertain the fact, okay, that was your true bottom right there. But until that day comes, I'm really cautious, basically, because, you know, one thing I did do here, and I'll hold my hands up, and I'm really sorry for this, I was looking at this, you know, head and shoulders pattern here, and once we broke down in, I think it was Monday the 24th of February right there, once we broke down, go back to the videos, I was targeting this buyback here on this $1.64 of a head and shoulders pattern, because, you know, this is basically a reversal pattern. It's a bearish pattern. So I was looking for the breakdown, back test of resistance, and then, you know, continue drop to the downside. But this made me, you know, lose faith in the pattern. Basically, it trapped me, and with that, what we did, you know, we took at that pivot high. So I thought, honestly, I hold my hands up that the correction was in. We come back making a high low to this wick low, and we're going to break ball here and do something like that. Okay, and you know, obviously the bearish pattern was invalidated, but the true way to invalidate this pattern, I've taught you this, the only way you can invalidate head and shoulders or inverse head and shoulders is actually taking out the head, and this is something we failed to do. So this was a major mistake on my behalf, and I do apologize, but you know, eventually we've come down, we've met the target of the head and shoulders pattern, which is beautiful, and we are seeing a positive reaction off that so far. But you know, again, we've just got to be really, really patient, because we've got a three wave move up there, we've got a three wave move up there, you know, and basically a three wave move up there as well. It's all corrective, okay, and again, at the moment we've got a three wave move up to the upside, not necessarily a five wave move. So until we start to see a five wave move up like this, and then, you know, you get your two wave move come back down, which is basically your ABC, where you hold the structural lows pretty much like what we did in the summer. You got your 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, then you went sideways in a range, building this high low structure, which is basically an ascending triangle. Until we start to see that kind of structure going forward, we've got to be cautious that this is just a correction, just like that, just like this. You know, we're still coming up the stairs, we're coming down the stairs, but we're just correcting up the stairs before we, you know, continue to the downside. So this is why we've got to be really, really careful. You know, typically what I do look for at the bottom of the corrections is a five wave move to the upside, and in all of this so far we've not seen five waves for XRP. If we start to see five waves here like this, 3 wave, 4, 5 coming up like this, fantastic. You know, I'll be buying the hell out of the 3 wave move to the downside, because we'll just seen a 5 wave move up, which is impulsive to the upside, which we've not seen yet. This is still a 3 wave move up to the upside. So this is where we've got to be a little bit careful here for XRP. And I think one of the key things we've got to be, you know, looking at is the S&P 500, because if you take a look here, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, bullish as hell. If you go back here, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, I was bullish as hell. So at the moment, I don't necessarily see five waves. If we start to see five waves from this low that we put in on this beautiful buy zone at $1.64, okay, you know, we've got to be really, really bullish. So until that day comes, we are actually caught in a downtrend where we just, you know, constantly correcting. So if we are sort of retracing into this leg of resistance, I'm going to show you exactly where resistance is and where I'm going to short XRP, and where the next buy zone is. It's really simple. It's the 382 at $1.47, where I expect a big boy bounce. That could actually be the bottom, but if it does start to fall below, we've got to look at a potential. We've got a huge head and shoulders here, left shoulder, head, right shoulder, breaking down, coming back up, bull trap, boom, drop down to, I think it's around about $1.27, isn't it? And I've given you that target before for XRP. So I wish them the most luck, but until we start to see five waves up off the bottom, you know, it's still corrective, isn't it, in this downtrend? We're making these lower high structure basically for XRP. So I'm going to show you exactly where I do think you possibly get rejections for XRP before you start to come back down the stairs. But we've got to keep an eye on the S&P 500. It holds all the clues. Typically it breaks out before XRP as well. So let's dive into the 4-hourly time frame right now to see what we can see for XRP. Okay, look at XRP on the 4-hourly time frame. At the moment we're seeing a rejection off a double top drop scenario, and at the moment this could simply be a retracement. So this is why we've got to be careful. If we do push through this leg of resistance, I do anticipate another leg of resistance just there on this double top drop for XRP around about the $2.39, $2.40 level just there. So you've got support just there, got candle breakdown, and what you've never done is backtest that resistance, and right now you look like you're trying to get there, but in doing so you're creating a bearish divergence. Okay, so there's increased probability of a short opportunity playing out on XRP, especially on the 4-hourly time frame. It's a really important time frame. You know, so just here you got a low, a higher low, you got a low, a lower low, so you're getting your bullish divergence, and right now you're breaking and you're pushing up into this resistance. So you know, basically a double top drop just there, support, never backtest the resistance. So in theory you should rally into it, look for higher lows, and then break out. So at the moment we don't necessarily see five waves to the upside. We see some kind of 1 into a 2 into a potential 3, 4, 5, so on and so forth. If we start to see that, then okay, we've got increased probability from this low, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, ABC coming back, fantastic. Okay, but one key thing we've got to see here, and not a lot of people are looking at this, if we do start to take out this range high at $2.59 for XRP, okay, we're going to increase probability we are actually bull from this low, because you know, if you take a look, we have actually put in 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 waves down, a lovely 5-wave counter on a buy zone at $1.64, which is basically a God candle back test on this resistance there, and resistance breakout, God candle in November of 2024 right there, and all you've done is fall back to it and had a nice positive reaction, but it doesn't guarantee that the bottom's in, and this is the mistake a lot of people make. Okay, so 5-wave counter right now, ABC coming back up, that if this does start to roll over again, you'll be looking at another 5 waves to the downside, and obviously we'll trade that if we see that. So we've got to be patient there. For me at the moment today, the trade for me is a potential short opportunity, because obviously you know, we're getting a bearish divergence, and all we're doing is we tracing into these God candle breakdown just there. So I'm looking at a potential short op at $2.40 with my stop loss on the $2.59 to negate the trade. Really simple. Okay, so I'll keep you updated as best I can. You can trade with me on L-Bank or Bybit. It's entirely up to you. Don't be an over leveraged DJ. The link's in the video description. But right now we are simply retracing after a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5-way move to the downside. This possibly could be an ABC zigzag coming back up that's just simply retracing to that 5-way move down. If it is, you can actually drop your fibs on and you look at the levels where you're getting rejected right now. So currently you're getting rejected off 786. If we start to take out the 1 fib, I would expect a major level resistance at $2.94. Again, I will be looking to short that, okay, which is this range high here for XRP. But remember, nothing goes up forever and nothing goes down forever. We try and ride the waves on this particular channel. We go long, we go short. We just look to make money in these ranges. Hope you enjoyed that update. Stay up, stay strong, stay tuned. Take care, everyone. Back to another update in XRP. Bye bye.